Okay, so now everything's cleaned up, and I have changed the way I'm moving my science, and it's time to put down purple science. So I have yellow science just to my left, and it uses those 3 ingredients. Purple science also uses 3 ingredients, and also has a 21-second craft time, so the layout's going to be the same. It's just going to be different ingredients in different recipe. So, um, well, in this case, we have 30 rail coming in. Well, it's still every 21 seconds. So yeah, the rail just has to be on a blue. We may be limited on how fast we can get rail into these boxes. I'm wondering if I need to do a different layout where I build the rail on site. So what does it cost to build rail? Each rail takes stone, steel, and stick. Oh, good lord. No, we're going to want to build rail off-site, and that's 2 rail every half second. No, I think we're going to build the rail on site, but in a separate. Um, can we do a? Can we do a insertion on this? Let me take a look. This might be a one-to-one thing. So factory planner. Hello, factory planner. We're looking at doing purple. So what if we build the rail on site? Uh, this claims that we only need 3 machines building rail for the 6, so it's a 4-to-1. Um, and this would mean 6 ingredients coming in. Well, 5 ingredients coming in. You know, I think I am going to have rail be built somewhere else. Um, where am I? No, let's build rail here. It's only 4 machines. So 16 to 4. Let me see if I can actually just do a single machine, a single lane. I'm going to use direct insertion for this if I can. Let's see if I can be clever. Okay, and this puts our machines. See, if I wanted to do 1 to 4 direct insertion, let's do boom, 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 boom. So I'm thinking rail here, sending out to here, 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 and here. And does that give me any way to get materials into the rail? So there's our distributions. All of my rail materials would have to come from the right, and I have no way to get materials into these guys, so this would have to be bot fed, and I'd like to do this without bot fed if I can. So as I avoided bot fed here. And what that tells me is that maybe I want to separate these out. If I put them separately, then how many belts of rail do I have? So this is going to be producing 3 full belts of rail, or 6. These 4 machines. Yeah. No, I think this has to be direct insert. I don't think we have a choice. Which means I may need to go for some more compact geometry where I sacrifice the number of units. So for instance, something like this, where we go ahead and we just sacrifice a whole bunch of rail machines. Oops. Let's undo that. What if we have a cell this size, which has a captive rail machine? No, because these aren't going to be able to get their resources. Oh, this is a trap. Oh, okay, so given that I've got mini loaders, though, I do have an opportunity here. This is a rail machine, and I use a mini loader to extract from it. Okay, mini loaders cannot, these rails cannot take prod modules, so they are running speed. And now we put these guys out here. From here. Sorry, I'm thinking. So in terms of express transport belts, I need those 3 items in, and I'm going to be producing 0.778 belts out.
Yeah, but I better turn it on.
So what if I do something like this? So separately we'll have to work out how we're bringing these guys in. That provides us with no space output here, but we could do this. Okay. This is beginning to come together. And substation power. I'm going to need to fill those in before my max rate calculator will do the right thing. Let's go back and get some things so I can do planning. We're going to need, say, 30 beacons. And
Actually, the key to having
150 of those.
is to do it on the day that it pops reset, so every 5 days.
And back to base to get refilled. So anything else we need in higher quantities for what we're doing here? Well, we aren't going to need 2,000 belts, I'll tell you that. Those guys are good. Those guys are good. I think that's good. Let's head back. Come on. Speed 10 because I want to run fast. Okay, so if that's our unit of rail, then max rate calculator says we are making precisely 1 transport belt of rail Well, it's a good thing I'm using mini loaders, isn't it? So for FP, now we get in here, I believe I can override this and say we have 12 of them. And this says we only need 2.6 of them. Okay. So what I'm going to do is boop, 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 boop. Okay, so there's our 3 full belts of rail that we're going to need for this. And this is 1.5 belts of each of those. Well, let's make iron sticks. How many machines do we need to make iron sticks on site? 2 machines making iron sticks. If these are again in 12s, 1.3. So we're still going to do 2 machines of iron sticks, but I'm going to use the same layout. In fact, let's just start with this same layout. Instead, these are iron sticks. And here we go. And now we're going to reorganize the inputs and outputs. Like that. And we didn't bring enough of those. Okay, so for the kind of planning I'm doing, I need more beacons. Anyway, one of these requires half a belt of plate, so these 2 can share a belt of plate. So plate coming in, iron sticks coming out. Now, I am not absolutely sure that the mini loaders will do precisely the right thing here, but let's hope. So this is a single belt of iron sticks, which needs to go to all of these guys. And just in case, I'm going to go ahead and hook that up. Doing this will limit our crossings, and this is useless here. So in theory, that will get all of the iron sticks. Yeah, we actually have a little bit of extra iron stick capacity, even without those 4, that's good. So back in Factory Planner, our net input here is going to be iron plate, steel plate, stone, productivity modules, and electric furnaces. So, I don't think we share inputs with anyone. aside from raw materials. So maybe we'll just roll this all the way back and go all the way back to providing the raw mats here. So the next thing we might think about making, let's do this in terms of items per minute. We've got electric furnaces and productivity modules. Well, let's think. Electric furnaces, again, if we go 12, what if we go 12 on all of these? Well, this is 10 machines. I'm going to go ahead and lay these out as a row. So we're going to go 8 for a row of 16. We need 2 boxes making electric furnaces. That's fine. We can do that. And this is electric furnace. Now that's going to require 3 inputs from the right. Haha, 3 inputs and an output. We know how to do that. Oops. I think our 3 inputs and an output, if we rotate this might even be better. Yeah. I am going to rework these for a moment. So the output's going to be low. So input, 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 and output. Like that. And power down there. So there's our actual layout for 3 inputs and an output. Let's kill the rest of this off. So we're going to need 3 of these. As we're having this input from the left and output to the left, so it's going to be kind of a bus on the left moving materials around from part to part. Also, we can have this as a nice row. My plan is that we will have some control of where we put these things. I will move the boxes around as time goes by. And we had this guy is. We had rail. That's right. We had 2 rail. And then we had stick. So the production science packs, I'll stripe those out to the right so we can leverage these guys. Obviously materials are going to come in top or the bottom, and the output's going to come out the bottom, and it's not going to be anywhere near as long as this. So 3 rail and 2 sticks and 2 furnaces. Stick, stick, furnace, furnace. So sticks only have 1 input. And productivity modules. have 2 inputs. And if I put this to 12, this is going to be 6 of these guys. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Could put the productivity modules to the right and flipped. Yeah. Oh, wait, these are inputs, not outputs. Now, does this cover? That actually covers the power to the right. Interesting. Well, that's useful. And how many of these did we need? We needed 6 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if I do this, it kind of limits. Oh, wait a minute. If I bring it up to the top, what if I do 6 from here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We take away the last 3, like that.
Let's kill Kevin. He's the only guy left.
Alternately, if the productivity modules, let's see, they're at 6. If I instead pack them as a linear row, I would have 7 of them in a row. Okay, we'll do it this way. Kill these guys off. So, I am going to need 7 machines making productivity modules all in a row, and 16 machines making the production science packs all in a row. And some stuff in between to swizzle around materials. So if we start here, 1, 2, 3, 4, these are going to be purple science. 16 of these, 8, 12, 16.
What about
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If we put it all the way up to here, I'm wondering if there's enough space in here to swizzle the inputs around. This guy's making prod 1s. Like that. So the only important thing is the purple science exit has to be to the south. And it's going to look something like that. And it's got 3 inputs. Now before, oh, I don't have radar coverage. Here's what my 3 input build looked like. Okay, that's acceptable. We can have half a belt of output because we know that we are going to be coming down to half a belt. And we're going to put in our productivity packs. bags. Let's see. Let's verify that I can use productivity bags in here. I cannot. So these guys need speed modules. That leaves you a little bit of space in here to swizzle inputs around. So I need to bring in new inputs for purple and take the output here and put it on the left-hand side of that belt there. That's easy. Even easier if my outputs are there. See, I don't even need that much space. I mean, literally, I could have these next to each other and it would about work. The other thing I could do would be to have all of my complicated inputs on the right. So there's my output of purple. There. And now all I need is to grab my output from the left and put it on the right, which is probably easier if I just do it like this. And we say our output. Where to go, where to go, where to go? There it is. He's there. There. And now we just have to have our inputs and our power. So the power covers out to there. Power short by 1, but I can bring it over to here. And that's more than adequate. Which means this is super simple. Inputs and outputs. In fact, I'm going to go 8 here, just to keep it even simpler. And Greg goofed.
And if you're in front of her front
Like
shoulder,
that.
you're going to get hit by that fire signal flare.
2, 3. So we have a slight overbuild of production modules. Entirely acceptable. Did we get this rebuilt? Yes, we did. And yes, we did. And yes, we did. So now we just need to bring the power down. And I could space the substations on the right out further. But this keeps the power grid looking nice and rectangular. There we go. And we actually have exactly the same kind of output, input, output, and 2 inputs there for these guys. And all we need now is to get our inputs here and here to have all the right stuff on them. Which means all of these guys that are outputting on the left are going to have to wrap around and up and in, or around and up and in on the left. That's probably better. And in fact, if our outputs are going to go up, let's go back to the other organization. Blink, 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 blink. Where I'm outputting on the top instead of the bottom. So the easy way to do this is to not take out these guys. Instead to move the stuff that moves around there. These guys get taken off, and instead they become like that. And that, yeah, that's not going to be a problem. Now I just need to pull it out of the other stuff on the right. So this is we are going to be removing assembly machines and belts and undergrounds and express inserters and substations. For some reason, it did not remove the express mini loaders from here because I picked the wrong thing. Oh, the joys of planning and replanning, huh? But I think this is going to come out with a better purple science layout. Better than if I just blindly said, well, I'll pump the other stuff to a new sub-factory. And now we get our substations in here. We say, boom, boom. Well, that's interesting. It's claiming I don't need substations every tick. Because one substation is covering two of those vertically. Now, at this point, we still have to have substations out on the right here, but it also means that if I'm going to be doing it covering perfectly, I could go ahead and just put it out like that. So we need our input to be on the bottom, on the inside here, and this guy has two inputs. This guy has one input from there. It will have, can I do this? Maybe. Yeah, that works. Oh, and this even happens to fit just right inside the power. Totally planned, right? Okay, so now we need to label these things. This guy needs red and green inputs, so it doesn't actually need any input from here at all on the left. either one of these faster. No, we're just going to bring red and green in on the right. Which also means we're there. So, red and green from the right. And let's check that our inserters are not overflowing, and they're fine. Oh, we won't know that until we get the speed modules in. They are probably fine. Let's mark this with, there we go. And this is going to be green chips and red chips. And those come in from real input. And down below, I'm going to mark this just for fun. This is going to have productivity modules on it. So now we need furnaces and rails.
So when you announce it, does that mean we roll or no? Like,
Furnaces there.
okay, sorry.
And rails. Just like that. And I'm going to move these out to the left as needed to make this work. Rails, 3 rails. I need to make absolutely sure that I don't have more than one belt of this stuff. Yeah, rails are 2.6 belts. This is a problem because I'm getting 2.6 belts of rails coming in on the right, and I'm not actually getting 2.6 belts coming in on the right. Oh, I need 4 belts of rails coming in, and I need tapping it in 8 different places in these 16. So each one of these pairs has to have half a belt of rail coming in. That can't be right. What does that end up looking like anyway? So we'd have to do this, and we'd have to bring the rails in like that. Or we'd have to bring the rails in like that. You know, this is almost excusable given the volume of rails that these guys need. Doing this might not be such a bad thing. Yeah. So the rails are going to continue down. There's going to be several lanes of rails. I'll put them on the outside of the power. Either 3 or 4 lanes. Let's do 3 lanes of rails. Keep 1 on the inside and 2 on the outside will feed back in. I'll use a manifold setup. Yeah, this is because we know that we have.
Go to Armboard. Go to Armboard. I'll get you
There. So first thing is this guy needs to be just here.
You're most welcome.
And this is going to be just like that. There. Now each one of these we're going to need to spill a bunch of rails into these guys. And we have these 3 lanes that I've set up. And I want to use priority splitting to assure that we get like half a blue belt onto each one of these. Well, half a blue belt into each one of these splitters. This is the last one, so maybe we take from the far right. Yeah, we prioritize to the far outside. Like that. Okay, so I am going to need to get these laid down before I can verify my throughput rates and verify how much rail I'm going to be splitting off for each one. Let's go back and get, let's see, we're going to need a ton of beacons and a ton of speed modules. So that's 28 plus 36 is 50, 64. Yeah, I think I got 150 on request. So yeah, if we go back and get another load, we should be able to fill that in. I'm going to pause for a second while that happens. Go get some coffee. Okay, I have coffee, and I have prod modules, and I have speed modules, and I have beacons, and I do need to make sure I don't, run over railroad tracks, but with fewer tracks in the base now, things are going better. I should get this all filled in, and I can use max rate calculator to check how fast each one of these guys needs their stuff, and I can hit myself over the head for not requesting more beacons. We can still get an honest rate out of him. So the prod modules, they're going to be keeping the inserters busy 1/10 of the time and 175 per minute. These guys, each one requires 471 rail per minute, and that in terms of a express transport belt is 0.175. So 4 of these together will require over half a belt. So what I want to do is prioritize to the outside lane and think in terms of half a lane going into each until we're just taking. So quarter, well, yeah. So if he is coming out there, like that, okay, we're going to prioritize. No, we don't need to. Do we need to prioritize? We don't need to prioritize this because we're just going to be merging it and sending it out. Actually, we don't need to prioritize anything here because it's all just going to get where it's going anyway. So all we need to do is make sure that there are 3 belts handy when we need them. So if he is heading out from here, he should be there. And we'll go ahead and do that to merge him in. Because I think, is that about a belt? That's over a belt. So how far down do we go before we have completely drained one? Oh, we don't know. I really ought to set this up so that I can just do 3 belts all the way down and have it be empty at the end. And to do that best, I need to get out of the way of these guys. So let's use this without that to carve out all of this stuff. And we'll put all 3 off to the right here. So assuming that we have done anything that makes sure that everybody can get to everybody somewhere on the left, what we want here is to bring that out. Like that. So if we're prioritizing to the outside, that splits down there. And prioritize to the outside again. That's our kind of the normal way I've been doing things so far. Do I have space to do that every time? And then I just have to work out how to get the other, how to get this lane folded in. Like that. There we go. Which means that if this guy goes up here, this guy goes up here, and that gets our prioritization going. Oops. Let's go from there to there and that. So if I've done all this right, there should be nothing left when I get to the bottom. So these are empty. That is forced empty. These are empty. Those are empty. Okay. So this requires 3 lanes, and they don't have to be balanced, but it would be nice if they were. So let's run these down and collect up all the rail. Now this, oh good lord. So each one of these machines potentially sends out a full rail. Oh no. How many rail do I need? So I have too many machines here. I only need 3 machines turning out rail. Okay, I'm glad I checked that. we may be able to shorten this up some. So we have 3 machines making rail. We don't really want to shorten this thing up on the left too much. But we might shorten it up some. Yeah, I don't know why I had 3 machines making rails. 2 machines each of those, and their outputs, I believe, are merged. Number of belts. Okay, iron sticks, we have more than 1 belt of iron sticks. We have, all these are 2 belts. So, well, that's into rails, so that's fine. So iron sticks are going into rails. 2 belts worth of iron sticks going into 3 machines, that's fine. We'll manifold that out. We move the iron stick machines. Let's move the iron stick machines down and set them up to be a little better. If I put the stick machines between the rails, that would be better. So this becomes a stick, and this becomes a rail. So 2 rail machines for the 3 rails for the 2 sticks. And does that mean that I can deliver the sticks cleverly? Only if I make these cells 1 taller. Let's think machine in the bottom. Potentially this stick machine can go up or down. And if I can get it to feed down, I can feed that directly in somehow. Yes. This changes the geometry some, and it means that I can't share my beacons to the right, but that's all right. Let's think about this. Let's do this build. Let's set this up over here. So there's that. And I'm going to think in terms of being able to load from top and bottom, like that. And if I also think in terms of being able to output left and right, I've got something like that. In fact, if I'm going to do what I think I'm going to do, oh, this gets simpler. There's our rail output, and we have sticks, depending on which machine this is, top, bottom, or both. Okay. And here's a stick machine. Like that. And he will have iron coming in. Like that. Let's get some power hooked up so this stops flashing at me. And rail. That looks surprisingly good. It takes the place of up through the rail. So I'm going to end up sacrificing some power and real estate. And if there's two things I have in this space, it's power and real estate. Okay, so I should have overlapped that by one. So boom and boom. So I need stone and steel and iron coming into these guys. I clearly need to be requesting more modules when I go back, and more beacons, because I didn't get enough to build that. For now, I'm going to strip out these beacons. Like that. that I can see if this is the right build. So let's eyeball it. We've got two inputs and our rod input and our output. There. Now if we toss the whole thing through a max rate calculator, we see we have 1/2 of an extra machine for rods. That's good. Our output rates are 1 belt per machine of rail and 1 belt per machine of iron stick. And we have a total of 1 belt of input of iron and 1.5 belts of iron and stone, which are split 3 ways, so like half a belt each. It's fine. So this is correct. This provides me with all the rail that I need. So let's grab that, and I'm going to save that on bar 3. This is my rail. So rail with beacons and speed modules. It's just your rail speed. And I'm going to pick that up so that I can use the parts. Now the other thing that I've forgotten as I was doing this planning was that I will need to get my rail stations up here. And if I go with even just 4 rail stations is that much, so I'm going to want to set this up down low. We'll figure that budget out later. I'm going to stash this up here so that I don't build it by mistake. No. What are you doing? That's just safety in case I do something weird. So, these guys. These just take way too much resources coming in. Let's grab that whole thing as a blueprint. Kill all this stuff off. It's almost like I need to have it almost like this, and just, dragging my outputs out the bottom somewhere. Yeah, I think I'm going to use this same, instead of having 1 belt coming in from the top, I'll have the belt coming in there. There we go. So, these guys require electric furnaces and rails. The rails have to come in there, so this is just the electric furnaces. enough blank space up here that I could sneak power in if I did this a little bit differently. So what we want to do is that. Now power, if we start it there, and you have it, oh my goodness. That lines up so nicely, almost like they planned it that way. So where can I put this that it just barely gets power? That would be right there. Now, if my output went... No, it doesn't matter whether my output goes right or left, really. Not enough productivity modules. Okay, so we want to request 150 of those from now on. Because without those, I can't estimate what I need. Let's go back to base and get them. So we actually picked up all the modules we wanted, and there's still some in storage. It should be making some more. I know I should be trucking them up from the other base, but let's just make sure that this is keeping me with, you know, base building quantities of these guys. And I may start using efficiency modules at some point. I'm certainly going to be looking at efficiency modules in that challenge base we're working on. Because frankly, pollution is going to be my number one enemy, given that I can't wall without also putting in massive amounts of landfill to put the wall on. Anyway, that's the other base. Back to PAX research. Be kind of cool if I could just have a automatic, you know, go to 10x speed when I'm in the train. Then 3x speed when I'm walking. Okay, so here's my purple area. So according to max rate calculator, this can produce over 1,000 items per minute, so we're properly set. In terms of stack inserters, looking at one of these guys, in theory we could feed this with stack inserters, but I'm going to go ahead and use the mini loaders on these guys. just because I like them. And I've already got them set. In terms of express transport belts, this requires 0.175. This is not 1/8. 125 would be 1/8. So this is more than an eighth. It's under a sixth, so 6 to 1, roughly. So I could bring in several belts, and each 6 of these I could go down by 1, or each 5 of them actually. Let's think of 5 to 1. No, 5. These 5 would have to have 1, these 5, and so on. With that in mind, I'm thinking that's still the wrong ratio. 4 is how I would want to do this. That would mean 4 machines making them, but we only really want 2.6. So 3 machines feeding 3 belts, which get manifolded down on these guys. So we're not going to do any fancy splitters. We're just going to prioritize to a lane and then move it across. So the other problem is you can't really prioritize out my minimum size on the way I normally do this. Got a lane coming out like that, and we jump over it. Like that. And if we've got 3 lanes, we're going to end up with something like that. Or, wait a minute, let's not do it the way I normally do it. Let's say we have 3 lanes. So we're going to say stuff it into the output, and then we're going to say stuff it down there and stuff it down there. And this is compact. That actually might be better for what we're doing here. Yeah, okay. Unnecessary crap. And that spreads with 1, 2, 3 inputs. It also means I can compress it a bit. Now, in just the theoretical interest of being compact, is there a way I can make this even more compact by having it go the other way? So if I had 3 lanes coming in, is there an inline way that I can peel out from one of them No, because this would have to have a cycle that's only this wide. Could I do this? And have things down below? Not really, because because that doesn't leave me with any opportunity to bring things up. So this looks like my layout. Let's set this in place and ponder for a second. So, if that's what we need, would it be more useful to have the rails up here and splitting themselves out so 3 goes to 16 by having each one go to 5 and then having adjacent ones split out? Again, we can manifold them. Have the 2 guys on the end manifold inward. It's got 16, so if these 6 were manifolded out, and that should make it so that the last one is possibly not filled. Let's do it the other way too. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, and we have one guy coming in from the middle, going out both ways. Well, that's going to be a problem. We would have to do something like this. Oh, like that? Because what I'm thinking is something like that. Where this allows me to. So the guy on the left is the only source for the first 5. The guy on the right is the only source for the second of these 5. And any excess can go into the 6th here and the 6th here. This guy in the middle is responsible for these 4, and his excess goes out to the other 2. So now I just need to make that right. Okay, a little bit of overkill. Is there a way of doing this that's smaller? Well, boom, boom. That's smaller. Haha. There we go. So we got rail coming in the middle and rail coming in the ends. And I can drop our rail build in just like this. Now, this rail is coming up here. Do I have an opportunity to be fancy on this side? Yes, I do. Like that. That's probably a better split. Just move that over here. That's off by 1 to be able to do that. Where is it? No, I can do that. There we go. These don't need to be even since it's just going to manifold out properly. But I do want to prioritize. So we tend to go the correct direction, and this is going to be priority right. So we will fill from the outside in, and this guy coming down through the middle, we want him to prioritize his outputs like that. And I'm going to do that just so I don't have a gap. Yes, I know, that doesn't matter. That's why I'm keeping it. So now we have the question of where do I want to put the builds for those two things. Well, let's see here. We need 2 machines for furnaces, and we need a whole bunch of machines for productivity modules. It's tempting to put productivity modules below this. Ooh, that would work. That would totally work. It would. Okay, so did I pull up? I think I already pulled them up. No, I didn't. Not completely. Let's just pull that much. Just right like that. And inputs, we take inputs from the left for no particular reason. He's going to need to go away. Later. So if we're doing that and we're bringing in the modules from the left, they're going to be on the top half, and we invert it over to the other half. Let's move our marker down like that. Here's our inputs for this guy. Red and green. Can we mark this? Yes, we can. Green chips and red chips. So the other thing I need now is furnaces. And if we look at this entire build with max rate calculator, we'll see that we have a few extra rods and a tiny amount of extra rail and a little bit of extra modules. And the input we need in terms of express transport belts are 0.096 belts of electric furnace, which is 258 furnaces per minute. And I'd like to bring the furnaces in from the right instead of the left. Let's switch that up. Oops. I'm going to build the furnaces down here just because it's kind of an open space. And there's a little bit of symmetry involved here. Cool. And this is going to be rough. Let's see. How can I best... So I do that. And peel these out. Like that. And now we can just take this and go boom, 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 boom. Oh no, yeah, okay, let's do that correctly. So I can either do a furnace in a 12 like this or in an 8. Let's take a look at the planner. Furnaces, I only need 2 of them if I'm in a 12. If I'm in an 8 though, it'll fit better into what I'm doing, and I need 3 of them. Well, that's... yeah, okay, let's just do that. Let's at least put them in the right place. What if I just put it all the way to the left here and just said, you are now a furnace? Like that. Furnaces have 3 inputs, so I need to have a way of getting 3 inputs and 1 output. Well, 2 inputs on the bottom, and 1 input on the top, and 1 output on the top. Oh, I can do this. I could do this really easy. No, I can't. I thought I could bring it around, but that would take extra. Yeah, you can do weird things with coming up and going back down like that and have it in place to get the outputs, but I don't want to do that. I don't want to belt braid. What I can do is go ahead and just use a belt across the top. And do that. Yep. And coming out the end, it'll be on the bottom. So that gives me my output. Or more generally, here, and priority output to the left is furnaces. There. this belt will need to have 50-50, so I'm going to go ahead and do the merges down here. If I do it on that level, I don't have to worry about the power thing. And the inputs here are steel, advanced circuit, and stone brick. And they're all fairly low level. Let's bring in the red circuits at the top. So, our red chips. And steel. And brick. And I think I am going to pull this guy back here. Just to separate him out from the inputs. So what do we have for our ultimate inputs? We've got red and green here. We've got red and green, red here. These two reds are going to have to come from the top. If I were clever, though, no, if I brought red and green across the bottom, I wouldn't have space for all of his inputs. And I don't want to be bringing green chips in along the top here and stripping out. Well, or do I? That might be clever. Yeah. What if I do that? That's not bad, actually. So now, we want something a lot like that above. Same kind of thing I did over here, where I go in here. I'm not going to be able to make the turnaround. Oh, flop. Well, I can move all of these to the right a little bit. That's good. Try that again. There. So there's our output. There's the green input, and this will grab my output. Bing. It's not really spaghetti, but it's pasta. It's definitely pasta. So the other thing is with this outputting onto the top of this belt, it's on the bottom of this belt, and it's already properly on the proper side. So I don't need this. I could trust myself, but I'm not going to because this may change. So green belts coming, green chips coming in on the left. We don't need a horrible number of them for this. Green stuff coming in on the left means I need to, you know, have an input from the left, don't I? Right. Boom, 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 boom. There. So outputs and inputs. It is tempting to bring the green chips in from the right now, isn't it? Because if I brought the green chips in here, I could fold them onto the bottom line and use a splitter to get rid of the yeah, I could use a splitter to get rid of the steel and bring the green chips down in. Okay, so we keep refining this thing. So if I do that, and move steel to the right, filter steel to the right, and the left-hand side already has red chips, so now we put the green chips in. And all that finagling we just did up above for getting the green chips into the top no longer matters. Besides, I had a bug. So now we've got red and green on the bottom here, because the steel is stripped out here. Yeah, that works. This is my kind of hacky. So given that, is there any way we could avoid this mess? If we had a little more space in here, I could bring brick and green in along this row. Oh, I could bring brick along this row and simply have it meet up. Yeah, okay, let's do that. Yeah, I like that better. Now we still need to do this to keep only the one we want. But now we've collected all of our inputs to the right, and we've got nice consistent stuff here. We're not doing weird route our outputs around to the left and back to the right or anything. those out. There's one thing I can trust, which is on a direct line like this. That will always work. And I could do the same thing here, or I could if I thought I was going to have any inputs on this guy, which I'm not. And also I can do this, pushing that brick to the upper belt here and the lower belt there, like this. There. Yeah, the more I refine this little build, the better I like it. Okay, so let's label our remaining inputs. Okay, these guys are iron. The other two inputs here are going to be steel plate and stone. Shift right click, shift left click. There we go. So now let's take a look at what we've got here. We are inputting red and green chips, steel and brick, and steel and stone and iron. Well, we could, in theory, import more iron and make our own steel. And we could import more stone and make our own brick. Would it be worthwhile? So what if we made brick and made steel? There. This would require 140 electric furnaces making steel. This is a flat no. We are going to be importing a lot of steel, and we're going to be making that steel off-site. Brick at 11.5, a row of 11 of those. In theory, we could do it. In actuality, I'm not going to. So there we go. We will just have to import 2.2 full belts of steel from somewhere. So steel production is going to be a big thing. Something's nagging at the back of my mind that I think purple was the big consumer of steel, or maybe military science, but I'm pretty sure it was purple. So here is our level 2 production for purple. And now Control N, let's look at what we actually have here. So everything's net positive on the number of machines. And if we look at express transport belt rates for everything, we can see that we require a lot of red, half a belt of green. We're making our own rods. We're making these. We're importing, 2.6 blue belts of steel. Yes, that's a lot of steel. Okay, so this is all what we're going to import, except for the stuff we're making. It'd be nice if that gave me nets. Factory planner, this ingredients, I can ask for them in belts. I can ask for in wagons per minute. Items per minute. Okay, so in terms of wagons per minute, this tells me that I am going to want to import stone and steel on 4 wagon trains. And if I only wanted 1 wagon trains on these guys, this guy would still be every 2 minutes. So we'll build the station. We'll build 6 stations. 2 of them are going to be 4s, and 4 of them are going to be 1s. Meanwhile, let's pick this up and we'll place him where it just exactly stretches the power. Just right there. And fly, my pretties. I probably should have done a benchmarking run on this, feeding it infinite stuff. In fact, yeah, I'm going to do that. I will do a benchmarking run, just feeding it belts of stuff to verify that this build works before I go any further. Oh, let's pick up this stuff. We no longer need any of this. Okay. So everything here should be built. Let's do a quick save onto our main save in case I mess something up here horribly, and let's set up some testing. So that needs steel. All of these are going to require matter sources. We'll configure these matter sources in a second. And that is indeed sourcing my steel. And now we will source the stone. Here. Let's start with the steel because we have one. And brick. Nope. Oh. Okay, so that's going to get ignored. Okay, so red chips. That guy. Very careful. And green chips. I identified all the inputs, so now let's crank this up to 10. And we can see that it's starting to produce purple science out there. So we have the right things at least. Now we need to find out if we have enough capacity. So the way we do that is I am going to split the purple to the left. Now we're only putting purple on one side of this belt. I think I am going to pretend, for the purposes of planning, I will set this up to act as if I got those backwards. There. So while this build knows it's only outputting to one side, it's going to be sending to both sides down here, so we can treat this as a module which produces purple at some rate, and later on, if we make it produce more purple, the rest of the system will just work. So just turn this up to as fast as it will go, which should be about 10x, maybe a little less. Yeah, the more of these creative mod parts we have in the system, the slower it's going to get, unfortunately. Okay, so now we are cranking the science in. And we see here that we have drained the backlog of purple into the science array. And now we want to watch for what our production of purple science is running at. And the answer to that is not fast yet. So we were aiming for 900, and we're getting 200. So now we have to go back and debug. So we should be steady state at this. Oh, take a look at that. Our rails are not connected. Several places our rails were connected. What is going on here? We missed a whole bunch of things on that. Yeah, this is why we debug. And notice down here there's one missing. I wonder if I did a pickup, a copy, and somehow did not pick up some things that were still ghosts. That could be it. I'm gonna have to watch out for that. Fortunately, I always verify with this. So, last, say, 10 minutes, purple science has been, it rose and it fell off a bit. I'm not seeing very many of these guys. Because this is turned around. So, we're not keeping these guys fed. And it's not clear to me what it is. Oh, I'm only giving half a belt of each thing, which is less than half what it needs. So, um, yeah, this is not going to be enough. Um, this is not going to be anywhere near enough. I am going to have to do a much larger build of the furnaces to support this thing. Basically, it needs a belt and a half, over a belt. So each one of these should be getting its own half belt. Yeah. So let's bring red green in from the left for these guys. Let's separate these two builds so I can do a separate thing. So these are going to get merged like that. I've noticed that when I place the matter sources with bots, they don't work properly, which is disturbing. I should be able to just place them down and have them be correct. And they aren't. And it's something to do with the parts that they place. Whole thing actually is going to get replaced here. So these are now separate. So I need to do a proper build with 3 furnace machines, and I'm going to do it up here like these guys. First takes inputs of steel, advanced circuits, and stone brick. So we'll just take that and plop that in. And this is probably why they don't start outputting immediately. It could be considered to be a feature. And red. I wonder if I can do that and set filters. Yes, I can. I wonder if doing that will cause it to start up. Nope. Okay, brick. And brick. On both sides. And red on both sides. So, aren't we glad that we checked it before I sealed it all up and set up a train station and all of that? eventually come down to here. But in fact, let's just do that. Which means that now we can kill this and this and this. And that. Okay. So notice this says we need one more furnace. Not two, just one. Because we're doing a whole big build. And I'm going to split furnaces to the left so we don't end up with any there, and then I'll do that just in case. And of course, none of these guys are going to work yet. There. So, if I haven't been the victim of any routing errors, that should be enough. Now it's tempting to move one of the furnace machines to the left and make this nice and symmetric. It's so tempting I will probably do it. So this claims that we have net zero on everything. No, positive. Yeah, a little bit. So 0.082 extra machines. So let's move this, copy this over here. Left half is going to be taken from the left. So let's do that, right, 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 that. There. Do this again. So in terms of transport belts, we're doing good. So now let's let it run for a bit and measure our output. So setting this to 1 hour means that each pixel here is fairly well smoothed. So we can see that our utility science is pushing towards 900 and our production science is running at 1K. That's good because 1K is what we want to produce and 900 is what we're throttled back to. So this will continue at 1,000 until I have filled up this whole belt. See how that's beginning to fill up there? It's only about a 10% excess, so it's interesting to me that this is not getting bottlenecked on the top yet. So I'm going to pause while this does some benchmarking, and we'll be back with the final results of the benchmarking for the purple build, and then I will go ahead and build the input stations and work out how I'm going to do that. I don't know if building the input stations is best practice at this point. I think I'm going to go ahead and continue to do the input stations the way I was. So we'll build input stations after we've verified that this can actually sustain. In fact, let's make that the next video, since this one's already over 2 hours. So stop recording. See you all in the next one.